Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, welcome to Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Today we are very happy to have the association of His Grace Smitha Keshava Prabhu. He will be sharing Bhagavad Gita from 4th Canto, 23rd chapter, 35 to 37 verses, chapter entitled Mahārāja Pṛthu is going back home. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandavat Pranam.
You can start.
Can hear me, Prabhuji, clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Hare Krishna. We'll start with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Sham Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome all of you for today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. I would like to take blessings from all the assembled senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis so that I would be able to discuss and talk about whatever I could hear and read as it is. And also I'd like to ask everyone to bless me so that I can discuss on this. Also, if any mistakes I commit, please try to rectify me during the discussion. With that, we'll try to start today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion on 4th Canto, 23rd chapter, 35th verse. So the chapter title is Mahārāja Pṛthu going back home, back to Godhead. I'll share the screen for you. Yeah, you're able to see my screen now, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. Can someone confirm you're able to see?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can see.
Okay, thank you, thank you so much. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 23rd chapter, 35th. We are reading 35th, 36, 37. So we'll recite 35th first now, and we'll read the translation, word to word meaning and purport, and then we'll discuss on this particular verse, and then we'll go to the next verse. So 23rd, 35th verse. Danyam yashasyam ayusham swargam kalimalapaham dharmartha kama mokshanam samyak siddhim abhipsubhihi shaddaitat anusravyam chaturnam karanam param. What word meaning? Danyam, the source of riches. Yashasyam, the source of reputation. Ayushyam, the source of an increased span of life. Swargyam, the source of elevation to the heavenly planets. Kali, of the age of Kali. Malapaham, decreasing the contamination, dharma, religion, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, mokshanam, of liberation, samyak, completely, siddhim, perfection, avipsubhi, by those desiring, shraddhaya, with great respect. Etat, this narration, anushravyam, must one hear, chaturnam, of the four, karanam, cause, param, ultimate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: by hearing the narration of Prathamaraj, one can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contaminations of this age of Kali. In addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides, it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and character of Pṛthu Mahārāja. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry for that. Purport: by reading and hearing the narrations of the life and character of Pṛthu Mahārāja, one naturally becomes a devotee. And as soon as one becomes a devotee, his material desires automatically become fulfilled. Therefore, it is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 10th verse, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena ejete purusham param. If a person wants to return home back to Godhead, or wants to become a pure devotee, akama, or wants some material prosperity, sakama or sarvakama, or wants to merge into the existence of the supreme Brahman effulgence, mokshakama, is recommended to take to the path of devotional service and hear and chant of Lord Vishnu or of his devotee. These are sum and substance of all Vedic literatures. Vedesya sarver ahameva vedya. Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, 15th verse. The purpose of Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna and his devotees. Whenever we speak of Krishna, we refer to his devotees also, for he is not alone. He is never nirvishesha or sunya, without variety or zero. Krishna is full of variety, and as soon as Krishna is present, there cannot be any question of void. Hare Krishna. So we'll discuss on this verse first, and then we'll go for next two verses. I just written few points and notes from lectures what I could hear and read from purports. So I just taken this slide from Gaurang Darshan Prabhu's in Bhagavad Pravaha. Just to give a glimpse of what we are discussing. The chapter is 4th canto, 23rd chapter. The Maharaj Pṛthu is going back home. So we were discussing this chapter in previous Bhagavatam classes also. So just a quick recap, not into deep, but yeah, in this chapter, the first 18 verses are discussed about Pṛthu's Vanaprastha life and departure. So how Pṛthu Maharaj, he handed over his kingdom to his further descendants to take care, and he left everything along with his wife, came to forest to do austerities and austerities to please Krishna, and he did very sincerely. And that was a part of first 1 to 18 verses, where he, along with his wife, he came to forest and performed the Vanaprastha life to please Krishna and perform all the austerities what we discussed there. And then he could able to fully focus and observe in Lord, and he left his body and went back to Vaikuntha. So that point of time, Archie was there, and Archie lamented for some time, and then Archie, next the 1922 verses, it explained about Archie performs Pṛthu's funeral rites. She arranges the funeral rites, and she also enters into the flame. So those are the 1922 verses discussed about. And then 22 to 30, we can see how demigods' wives praise Archie. So they are on the top of the mountain, Mandara mountain. They could be able to see what's happening, and they are glorifying Archie, that her service was similar to the service of goddess of fortune. So how she was serving so nicely Pṛthu Maharaj. So although Pṛthu Maharaj was king and she was the queen, she was having all the opulences there, but she was humbly serving wife and following in the footsteps of the husband. So those things were very much appreciated by demigods' wives, and they were praising there. And yeah, that was the context in 22 to 30 verses. And then 31st to 39 is Falashruti. These about what we're discussing in today's session also about this. Falashruti means Shruti, because of hearing of the pastimes of Pṛthu Maharaj, what are the Phala result we get? So that was explained from 31 to 39 verses. It was so glorious, Prathamaraj's life, and very well explained what are the benefits were like all for all different kinds of people, like materialists who are like different kind of persons. We'll see in the discussion that how glorious Prathamaraj's life. If one hears the Prathamaraj's pastime, what all the benefits, what are the advantages, so they will get. It was explained in this section of Falashruti. So in that section we are discussing on 35, 36, 37 verses. So let's go to 35 verse. So in the purport, I've just referred Prabhupada's purport, explained about the verse, very famous important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Akama Sarva Kama Moksha Kama Udaradi. So in that verse it explains in the how glory one approaches the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever they may be. So example is telling about the verse Akama, Sarva Kama or Sakama or Moksha Kama. So first, Akama means of no material desires or no aspiration for material enjoyment. So they kind of, their goal is to please Krishna. They have no material desires. So if this kind of people, if they approach Krishna, so like whoever they may be, if they approach Krishna and whatever they get is ultimate goal they will be able to reach. So people who are in Akama, people who are in Sakama, they have desire for sense enjoyment. So they have all desires to materially enjoy the senses. And then last, Moksha Kama, people who are desiring for liberation from the material pangs of life. So all those three kinds of people, if they approach the Lord, then the glory is that once they approach the Lord, engage in Lord's service, so slowly they'll get purified and they'll get the ultimate abode of the Lord. So that's what we could see in the Bhagavad Gita. The referred context of this is that Krishna explains that the four kinds of people approach the Lord, that is Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, Jana Sukritana Arjuna, Artho Jignasur Artharthi, Gnanicha Bhartarshaba. So the translation is that, oh, best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, the who is searching for the knowledge of the absolute. So in the Prabhupada, the purport explains everything in detail in this particular verse. That the person who is distressed, like who is artho, like we have a lot of kind of miseries here. So Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidevika kleshas, and the four problems of real problems of life: birth, old age, disease, and death. So we get distressed of it and we approach the Lord. Some or other, all of us, we will be having some or other problems, and very few that they are high level, they can they are able to understand, and they understand and they self-realized, and they want to approach the Lord. But most of us will be in this stage, especially all of us, like we feel that we are having some other thing and we want to understand it in a bit more. So why you have to get distressed? So what is the reason? So we will approach the Lord in that way. And if you approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then slowly will get purified. So the same thing for desire of wealth, and inquisitive people are inquisitive, and people who are in search of knowledge of the absolute. All these four kinds of people Krishna is explaining in this verse. And we can see examples in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita also. We could see in Mahabharata how Arjuna also initially he doesn't want to fight in the battle. We all know that Arjuna has given in the first chapter that why he doesn't want to fight. So he was explaining about many reasons, which is called as you can tell it as a kama or as sakama, desire, because the desire of Arjuna is that he doesn't want to fight, and the reason is he tells that because he may incur sin, or also how can he enjoy if all the relatives are dying in the battle, and he like that it tells the family tradition will go down, because if the husbands are killed in the battle, all the women, they may become widows, and they may get polluted, and the Varna Shankara will come out of them, and they will not able to continue the further family traditions. So like that Arjuna has given multiple reasons, but one thing we can observe is he could able to hear from the Lord. Arjuna surrendered to Lord. Like in the second chapter, Arjuna, first chapter he asked the questions, and second Arjuna very clearly showed that although he told so many reasons, but was not able to control, and he lost his composure, and he prayed to Lord that, oh Lord, I am surrendered soul unto you, please instruct me. So then that famous verse Arjuna spoke, Karpanya dosho pataswabhava Richvami tvam dharma sammoda cheta Vechreyashan nishchitam bruhitan me Shishyasteham shadi mam tam prapannam He's asking Prapannam, O Lord, I surrender unto you. I'm surrendered soul. Please instruct me. So what is the right dharma? Then Lord instructed, and Arjuna, from that state, he could able to receive the knowledge from the Lord. And he immediately took uh, Karishya Vachanam, the whatever Lord explained, he could understand, and he told, I will follow the Lord. And he fought. He didn't fight for his own pleasure, but he fought for the pleasure of the Lord. So he went to the akama of no material desire. That means no aspiration for material enjoyment, but for aspiration for Lord's pleasure and Lord's enjoyment. So that's how Arjuna showed an example, which all we should also take a lesson from him. And our goal is to please the Lord. So that's our main goal. And in the process of performing our course of actions, we can also see at every point of our service what is our goal, whether we want to enjoy ourselves or we want to please the Lord and Lord's devotees. So that's the important point. So in the whole section also there is a connection that Lord and Lord devotees are not separable. So it should be together. And glorification of Lord and hearing about the glories of Lord, hearing about the glories of devotees is mentioned in the further verses that it gives the same benefit. So and also Lord many times explained that Mad Bhaktya Pujadikam. So glories worshipping my devotees is much greater than that my worship. So Lord is very much happy with it. And then coming again back. So Arjuna is one example we can also see in our life. Also we should able to measure whatever service given to us or whatever action we are doing, is it pleasing to Krishna or pleasing to our senses, why we are performing that service. We should check ourselves. So that will be very helpful in our progress. And second example I was just recollecting from Dhrumaraj past time. So we in the akama sarvakama. So also in this verse of Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam, the desire of wealth. So Dhrumaraj also desired. Dhrumaraj's desire was to get the greater kingdom than his greater grandfather. So he wanted greater kingdom than his father. So that was his goal. So with that motive, Dhrumaraj went to forest but to worship Lord Narayana. And Dhrumaraj got very nice guidance from his spiritual master Narada Muni. Narada Muni tested and Narada Muni guided him. And before that also his mother Suniti very clearly told him that Narayana is the whole and he can only be able to satisfy you. So then we all know how Dhruv Maharaj took the instructions from Narada Muni. And Dhruv Maharaj, from the state of having the desire to get a greater kingdom, so he performed the process of devotional service, whatever instructed by Narada Muni as it is, and he got purified in the process. And when Lord appeared and he could not able to speak any word, when Lord touched the conch shell on his head, then Dhruv Maharaj started glorifying the Lord with so many nice verses. And then Dhruv Maharaj, when Lord appeared and Lord asked for benediction, he was actually he doesn't want, because he already got the greatest boon that he could able to see the Lord and take darshan of Lord, and that's the greatest thing what he got. And when Lord asked, so he was Lord actually he already desired that he want a kingdom, and Lord already awarded it. So Lord told that I'm going to give you that as well. So apart from that, when Dhruv Maharaj asked, so Dhruv Maharaj asked for association of devotees. So but the point is that Dhruv Maharaj felt repented that I asked for something which is broken piece of glasses, but I got diamond. So Lord's devotional service, pure devotional service is a diamond which I got. So you can see how Dhruv Maharaj went with the desire of material wealth or wealth which you want to acquire a kingdom. But we can see how in the process he got purified, and Lord ensures that it will happen. So whatever may be, you should approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time, whoever it can be. So it is said that even the Sudras or lower than Sudras, if they approach the Lord in process of devotional service, they'll get purified in the process. So and slowly it happens that they'll get Lord will ensure that they'll get purified and they'll take to the process very nicely, and they can advance in spiritual life. We can see an example how Prabhupada also did the same. So people went to West and preached there how all the hippies, they have all kinds of regulative principles, what we feel they have broken everything, but Prabhupada make them practice the devotional principles, make them chant, make them do devotional services, and engage them as per their interest, as per their willings. So we can see like slowly they got purified, and then they became the great first class brahmanas. We can say that they could able to preach Bhagavad Gita, they could able to spread all over the world. So that one thing we can see. So that's the main point which Prabhupada explaining in the purport also about this akama sarakama mokshakama vadaradi. Yeah, so one point I was mentioning, that first point of desireless means not that like a stone, but our consciousness is to be like actual, we understand our constitutional position, and our main constitutional position is to love and serve the Lord. So that's the main thing. So there is no aspiration for material enjoyment, but the aspiration to love and please the Lord. So that's one theme of that verse. And next, first theme is about that anyone can approach the Lord, and by approaching the Lord, they'll get purified. So that's one point. And actually, the connection here is by hearing the glories of Prabhu, they'll start becoming devotees. So that's the point. And then they're slowly becoming devotees means they're approaching the Lord. When they're approaching the Lord, then slowly they'll become purified and they'll become great devotees. That is the connection there. So next theme is that the whole purpose of Vedic knowledge was to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vedesa Sarver Ahameva Vedya. So that was the second theme in the purport Prabhupada explaining, that the essence of all the scriptures is to understand the Lord. The Lord himself explained in Bhagavad Gita also. And Prabhupada adds in the purport his devotees as well. So Prabhupada explains that understand the Lord and his devotees. So in context of this today's discussion, that we should also understand the life of Prathamaraj, what has he done. So before entering into Lord's pastimes, this was discussed. So 10th canto was Lord's detailed pastimes, so more in detail. But if you see the pastimes of further in Bhagavatam, explaining about Dhruva Maharaj pastime, Prahlad Maharaj pastimes, so and also pastimes of Pṛthu Maharaj. So these pastimes are also very, very important. So you can see, we can learn from those pastimes. So Krishna and his devotees means these are the devotees, as Srimad Bhagavatam explains, that we can learn from their lifetimes, what they have done, how they led their life, what are principles we can learn. So that's very important, which Prabhupada adds in the purport, his devotees. And as a golden rule, we know the essence of all the scriptures is ends at these 2 points, that we should always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna by practicing our devotional service very nicely. And we know these 2 analogies are very important analogies, that we do so many actions, but if our actions are not pleasing Krishna or Guru or Vaishnavas, then its whole point is no use. Shramayevik kevalam. So we should ensure that should happen. So that's like we water the plant. If you water all the leaves and branches, other things, so that will not satisfy the whole plant. You should water the root, then only whole plant will get nourished. So similarly, the example of serving the stomach. So all limbs of the body should serve this, so that whole body will get nourished. So that's how we should always, our goal is to love and please the Lord, and that's the main motive of this. So in Prathamaraj's life also we can see how his main goal. So we'll see further also, like how Prathamaraj led his whole life in a very devotional way, and he could able to please the Lord in all his actions, whatever he did. And goal is to please the Lord, otherwise it's a whole point of waste of time. So that's the main point. And then further in the purport, Prabhupada explains that Krishna is never alone. So Krishna will be always with devotees. So when I was reading this purport, I was recollecting the qualities of Krishna. So there are total 64 qualities of Krishna. Rupa Goswami explains in detail that 60 qualities which already having by Mahavishnu, I think, is having, but the 4 qualities which differentiate Krishna is that these 4: Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, and Prema Madhuri. So Rupa Madhuri, Krishna's beauty. So Krishna is so beauty that so everyone get attracted to Krishna. And there is Leela Madhuri. Krishna's pastimes are so amazing, so nice pastimes are there. So we can never see those pastimes anywhere else. So there are so many pastimes of Krishna. And Venu Madhuri, the very interesting thing is about Krishna's flute. So that is Venu Madhuri. And then one more is Prema Madhuri, which is the Krishna is never alone. Is always with his devotees who are all in the love of Godhead. So they're already at the stage of love, Prema. And Krishna is always with these associates of devotees. Krishna will never be alone. So he'll be with associates. And I was hearing one of the lecture that if you see in any paintings of Krishna also, we can never see Krishna alone. Krishna will be with someone. Krishna will be either with the parrot, Krishna with parrot, or Krishna with peacock, Krishna with Balram, Krishna with friends like Madhumangal, Sudama, or Krishna will be with flute. So something will be there. So which is Krishna will be with the devotees always. So these four qualities enhance Krishna, like this, attract more about Krishna. So, and Krishna will be never be alone. So that's one of the point Prabhupada explained in the purport. And as a connection that Krishna and devotees are not his devotees, pure devotees are not different. So he's telling that Krishna will be always with his devotees. So that's where Prabhupada explaining this, that Krishna will be with his devotees. That's one of the quality of Krishna, which you can see Prema Madhuri. And there is one more point about Krishna is full of variety. As soon as Krishna is present, there cannot be any question of void. Prabhupada tells in the purport. And understanding of this is that we are all individuals and we are all unique in our own nature. So our nature, everyone has their different qualities, different nature. So Krishna likes that. So he wants everyone have a different rasa, and Krishna reciprocates them according to their nature. So everyone is different, everyone is individual, and Krishna wants that variety. So even in material world, we can see relevant example in material world. So we don't want to do the same routine every day. We need a variety. So if every day morning we have same breakfast, so idli, so it will be difficult. So and every day morning wearing the same dress, so we will not feel that much happy. We need variety. So the material world is full of varieties because it is a forward reflection of spiritual world. But there is varieties here, and people search for different varieties to enjoy. So not knowing that the ultimate we should be enjoyed by Krishna, but we think that we are the enjoyer, and we try to enjoy in multiple ways, doing this, doing that, going to movies, going to so many sightseeing places. We do so many ways, but the ultimate thing is should get enjoyed by Krishna. So that is the main thing. But there is a variety. It's in material world there is a variety. So that comes from the spiritual world. So Krishna is also full of variety, and as soon as we Krishna present, there is no question of void. And also people say that we merge in the Brahmajyoti, or we merge in the Lord. Actually, people say that we merge, and there is no further existence of the soul. So that concept was clearly Prabhupada explains in so many purports that it is not the right thing. So all of us remain individual, although we reach spiritual world. Even in Brahmajyoti also, we'll remain individuals. So Prabhupada tells an example of a green tree, and if you see the green tree, the green bird goes and sits in the green tree. So from the far, if you see, it looks like the green bird and green tree doesn't distinguish it. It almost like it's there. It's a tree only. Nothing much is there. But if you come closer and see, understand it very clearly, there is a green bird, it's an individual, and there is a green tree that is separate. So both are different. So that Prabhupada very clearly tells that, understands that although we merge in Brahmajyoti, we remain as an individual. So we'll never merge, or we lost our existence. That will never happen. So Lord created us to have variety, and our goal purpose is to love and serve the Lord. And we supposed to be enjoyed by Krishna, and we not supposed to be enjoy. So we're supposed to be enjoyed by Krishna. So we are like Prakriti and Lord is Purusha. Yeah. So I was explaining that that concept with Prabhupada, that's in the purport, this point especially, that there is no question of void. And then essence is to please Krishna and Guru and devotees. So that is to advance in spiritual life. So I was just collecting that Krishna always with his devotees, and we can see how the two way of it. One way is we please Krishna and devotees to advance in spiritual life. The another way, if you don't please Lord and if you blaspheme the devotees, we definitely will not advance in the spiritual life. That will definitely not happen. So we can see example of Ishwar Puri, like how when Madhavendra Puri was on the last day of his life, about to end his pastimes here, and that time we know how he was praying to Lord, that, oh Lord, I cannot see you, because of out of his humility he was praying like that. Oh Lord, where are you? I'm not able to understand. I'm not able to see you. Please accept this fallen soul. So he was calling out the Lord so very intensely. But that time we know how Ramchandra Puri was telling, you are not able to see the Lord, you're not able to find the Lord, then please meditate on Brahman. That's very good. That's very easy also. So he was telling him that you do this way. So then he became very angry. Madhavendra Puri became very angry, told, you get out of this place. So, but at the same point of time, we see how Ishwar Puri was taking care of his spiritual master so nicely and pleasing him such a way that he was reading out the past tense. He was reading and make a spiritual master here. He was going through the scriptures. So serving the spiritual master menially all the ways. So that made the spiritual master so much pleased that he blessed him. So you will get the love of Krishna, and you will become you'll get the unallied pure devotional service. So he blessed him. So that was the blessed thing we can see, that we have our goal is to please devotees, spiritual master and Krishna, so to advance in our spiritual life. And further we know how Ishwar Puri, by doing this principle, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, become the disciple of Ishwar Puri. And we know further in Chaitanya Charitamrita how the pastimes happened. So, and one more thing, as we discussed in Prathamaraj pastime, Prathamaraj, when he was performing the sacrifices, when he was doing 100 sacrifice, so that time we know how Indra was trying to steal the horse which was there in the sacrifice. So that time how he tried again and again. But Prathamaraj, when it was told Prathamaraj that this kind of things are happening, and when Brahma came and requested him that please stop this, so Prathamaraj was able to understand the principle, and he could able to immediately stop the 100 sacrifice. He doesn't want to continue that. So according to the instruction of Brahma, he could stop it. So how accepting the higher principle, accepting the principles of spiritual master, instead of what we feel that is correct, accepting their whatever they are saying and following. So he could able to please Brahma because of the instruction what he gave, and because of pleasing him, Lord himself appeared in the arena and blessed him. So that we can see in this particular pastime what we have seen in Prathamaraj's section. These are the few points from the purport which I could collect, which I could hear from the lectures, and I could able to collect. So we will go to 36 and 37 verses together, and then we'll discuss few points. So 36 verse. Sorry. Yeah. 36 verse. विजयाभिमुखो राजा श्रुत्वैथाद् अभियातियान् बलिं तस्मै हरन्त अग्रे राजन पृथवे यथा. Vijaya Abhimukha, one who is about to start for victory. Raja, king. Shrutva, hearing. Etat, this. Abhiyati, starts. Yan, on the chariot. Balim, taxes. Tasmai, onto him. Haranti, present. Agre, before. Rajanaha, other kings. Prithave, onto King Pṛthu. Yatha, as it was done. Translation: if a king who is desirous for attaining victory and ruling power chants the narration of Prathamaraj 3 times before going forth on his chariot, all subordinate kings will automatically render all kinds of taxes onto him, as they rendered them onto Mahārāja Pṛthu, simply upon his order. Purport: since a Kshatriya king naturally desires to rule the world, he wishes to make all other kings subordinate to him. This was also the position many years ago when Prathamaraj was ruling over the earth. At that time, he was the only emperor on this planet. Even 5000 years ago, Mahārāja Yudhishthir and Mahārāja Parikshit were the sole emperors of this planet. Sometimes the subordinate kings rebelled, and it was necessary for the emperor to go and chastise them. This process of chanting the narrations of the life and character of Prathamaraj is recommended for conquering kings if they want to fulfill their desire to rule the world. So this verse also the continuation of Falashruti, hearing about the pastimes of section of Prathamaraj. So how kings will get benefited. So that's the section. And in this verse mainly is telling about the kings how like Prathamaraj, when he was the king, he could able to collect all the taxes. So he did not force anyone. They will only submit the taxes. So if the kings desiring to rule and rule over the world, by hearing this pastime of Prathamaraj, what happens to them is it will automatically happen. They did not worry much. So and it's tells that 3 times we hearing about this pastimes. So by hearing this pastime again and again, this is the benefit which happens. So it's explaining in that way. The kings can automatically they will automatically receive the taxes. And how Prathamaraj was there when he was ruling the earth, it was happening like that. So we will discuss more after reading the next verse, and we'll go for some discussions on these 2 verses. The next verse is 37th verse. This is one of the important verses in this section. Muktanya sango bhagavati amalam bhaktim udvahan vainyasya charitam punyam shunyat shavayet patet. Muktanya sangaha, being freed from all material contamination. Bhagavati, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Amalam, unalloyed. Bhaktim, devotional service. Udvahan, carrying out. Vainyasya, of the son of Mahārāja Vena. Charitam, character. Punyam, pious. Shrunyat, must hear. Shravayat, 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 must induce others to hear. Patet, Patet, go on reading, and go on reading. Translation: a pure devotee who is executing the different process of devotional service may be situated in the transcendental position, being completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But even he, while discharging devotional service, must hear, read, and induce others to hear about the character and life of Prathamaraj. Purport: there is a type of neophyte devotee who is very anxious to hear about the pastimes of the Lord, especially the Rasa Leela chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam. Such a devotee should know by this instruction that the pastimes of Prathamaraj are non-different from the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. An ideal king, Prathamaraj, exhibited all talents in showing how to rule the citizens, how to educate them, how to develop the state economically, how to fight enemies, how to perform great sacrifices, yagnas, etc. Thus, it is recommended for the Sahajiya or the neophyte devotee to hear, chant, and get others to hear about the activities of Prathamaraj, even though one may think himself to be in the transcendental position of advanced devotional service. So, this section is telling about Muktya Sango Bhagavati. So, Bhagavati, onto Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's telling about how a pure devotee also executing the process of devotional service. He also must hear and read. He's saying that he also must hear and read and induce others also to read about the life and character of Prathamaraj. So that's the main point in this verse. So Prabhupada explained in the purport the Prathamaraj, how was his life. In the short points he explained it, how he ruled, how educated citizens, and how he fight with the enemies, how develop the state economically, how perform the sacrifices. And Prabhupada also touched on the part of Sahajiyas and the neophyte devotees and the advanced devotees. So Sahajiyas, they like to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam Rasa Leela. So we'll start from that. We'll just few points there. We'll discuss and we'll yeah. So both two verses, if you combine like 36th and 37th verse. So 36th verse, it is said that in the purport, the process of chanting the narrations of life and character of Prathamaraj is recommended for conquering kings if they want to fulfill the desire to rule the world. So that was the benefit like we get from the phala of hearing of Prathamaraj's life and character. So, and we also understand from this pastime of this section is that there should be ideal kings to rule. So that's like kind of Raja Rishish. Example also Prabhupada quoted about Yudhishthira Maharaj and Maharaj Parikshit. So in the purport that they are the people who was ruling whole planet. So they were the emperors. So and their way of ruling is like how Maharaj Pṛthu ruled. So they take care of whole planet very nicely, and everyone engage in devotional service, and their main motive is to please Krishna, please Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was established by Maharaj Yudhishthira and Maharaj Parikshit. So how Maharaj Yudhishthira established it, he did the sacrifices, Rajasuya Yagna, and he gave the Agratambula to Krishna. So he showed it very clearly. And they are all saintly kings. So, and they established this standard that the main goal is to please Krishna. And the second Maharaj Parikshit also, we can see how Maharaj Parikshit also ruled, and in the womb only he could see Krishna, and he was a great devotee of Lord, came in the great family lineage, and we can see the life of Maharaj Parikshit. He ruled the kingdom in the same way of his ancestors, and further Maharaj Parikshit also in the Srimad Bhagavatam came because of Maharaj Parikshit, where we are all discussing every day. So how such a nice literature or Srimad Bhagavatam is works as a medicine for all kind of people. So we have seen in previous verse that akama saraka moksha kama, it's like a medicine for all, whoever it may be. So for all of them, it works like a medicine. So Maharaj Parikshit was the one who was the one for this Bhagavatam to appear as the Lord's desire. And how the discussion happened between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. That was the Srimad Bhagavatam, what we have seen, what we're discussing also. So that works like a medicine. So it also, I heard that whole arena of that discussion were happening, there were so many other transcendentalists. So not only devotees and devotees of Lord, there are many other people who came there. The discussion was such a nice that it goes from first canto to 12th canto. All the different kinds of transcendentalists who are there in the arena, they'll get solely purified to come to that level. So even Prabhupada tells that don't jump directly to 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, last Leelas. You should read systematically from the first canto till the 10th canto, so that we understand first the greatness of Krishna, and then we can go into the sweetness of Krishna. So then we can understand the Lord's pastimes very nicely. Until unless we don't know the greatness of Lord, how Lord is so great, how the whole universe is created, so we're not able to understand the sweetness of Krishna. So that was the main point. So the whole Srimad Bhagavatam discussion happened because of Mahārāja Parikshit idol kings. So there are same way there are so many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. One of the example is King Rantidev in 9th canto. So how was in the mood of serving all, and his main serving all is that his main goal is to please the Lord, as are all part and parcel of the Lord, and he's the king. He's supposed to take care of all. So that was the past time, I think, when he went to forest along with his family and was performing austerities there. Once he got the prasadam, full plate of prasadam to honor it, he was distributing to his family members. So and when he distributed to family and finally he's supposed to honor it, so there were many people coming there. First Brahmana came and he asked him, very hungry, please give me something. So he gave to him a little bit, and then after some time one more Shudra came and he asked, I'm very hungry, I'm very hungry, I'm unable to tolerate, can you give me something? So then again Randidev gave some portion of it to him. There was one more person who came with so many dogs with him and tell, my dogs are very hungry, I'm very hungry, I need some prasadam. So he fed them, he fed the dogs also to their content, and they're satisfied. So then again one more person came, so which was like he was in a discussed way, he came and he asked him, I'm also very angry, can you please serve him? That's the last thing what he had, I think, is water he had. So he gave that water to him finally. That was the last, everything he distributed. Finally he had water, and that also was asked, and he distributed it. Praying to Lord, he distributed it. So that was, then immediately we know that all the demigods along with Lord Shiva appeared there, and they were very much happy with the Lord's king's selfless service. So the king, idol king, means that they should take care of all the citizens. So how Prathamaraj also in his story, we can see how there was nothing in the whole kingdom. He did sacrifices. He showed it. He could able to chastise Mother Earth, and he bring out everything required for all the citizens, all the resources whatever required, and perform sacrifices and instructed the citizens how they should rule, how should be. So all we can learn from this. And verse in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna also explains in 3rd chapter, that Yajat Acharati Shreshtas Tat Eva Taro Jana Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokastat Anuvartate. Because that's the main Achar. Shreshtas means people who are like leaders. So they are the top class leaders. If they set some standards, common men should follow. Eva Taro Jana, they will follow it. So whatever actions they do, we'll imitate it, we'll try to follow it. So Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokastat Anuvartate, they will follow it. So that's how the thing should be. So what lesson we can learn from this is, all of us, that we are also having some responsibility on us as a practicing devotional service, that we should also try to set an example, ideal example, so that we'll practice whatever is following with utmost sincerity and seriousness, so that who are all dependents or who are all others, they should be able to understand, and they should also take it very seriously. But if you only dilate the principles, whatever you are following, then others may not be able to take it up. So example of example of chanting. So we're supposed to chant all our rounds. So some people say that I may continue next day. So that's not the thing. We should complete whatever prescribed rounds, or whatever vow we have taken we have to complete that rounds. So if we are not following that, others also will think that, they will also see it, and they also try to escape it, and they'll tell, I'll try to do it. So I could see many of the devotees ask this question, can I chant my rounds which I'm not able to do it today, next day? So we should, as a human form of life is very rare, we should actually take it very seriously and practice it. So, and also coming to other view of it is, whatever we are doing, even the children, they will also see what we are doing. So if you are sleeping late at night and watching all kind of movies, sports, so, and our interests are different in home, then children also will see that, they also will like that, and they also will see, he's doing, I also will do it. So we should be very careful in what we're doing, because if you don't set the standards, the children's whatever they see, get into their mind. So that if you don't follow it, then they'll also will do the same. So if in the other way, if you do the things rightly, getting up early, sleeping very early, getting up early, and if you do puja, hang deity worship, chanting the rounds, watering tulsi, doing mangalarti in home, so together help teaching them how to sing kirtans, bhajans. So if we do that, slowly children also will pick up. So and others who are there, they also will understand, they also will feel the importance, and they will also pick up. But if we are only so much involved in so much of our work whole day and not getting time to do our practice of chanting and rounds early, so I'm telling for myself also, so that I'll able to practice it. So we have to get up to the standards set, complete our rounds, do our sadhana, and do our deity worship, so that children's also they'll take up an example and they will follow it. That one point I just we can learn from this. As the topic of kings came, I just want to cover this. So yeah, and the next section Prabhupada also explains about the sahajiyas and also advanced devotees. So sahajiyas generally they directly jump to the pastimes of Lord Rasalila. Instead of going from understanding of the Lord's greatness, they directly jump there. So um, as Prabhupada already mentioned that many times, that we should read Bhagavatam in a systematic way. So we should understand first all the cantos of creation, incarnations of Lord, devotees, pastimes, and then we should understand the Lord's Leela in the 10th canto. So it is for our own purification, because when you go through these pastimes, we'll understand in deeper aspects of Lord's greatness, especially the creation part. You see how detailed it's explained in second canto. It's very difficult to understand, but it's in detail explained about the creation further in details. So we should have to learn that, understand it, and then we should go ahead. So it is mentioned that here. Yeah, and also it in the purport Prabhupada explains that in the translation also, that advanced devotees, they hear these pastimes of Lord's and Lord's devotees, and they should induce others also to hear. So example I mentioned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can see how in Puri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could hear the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj hundreds and thousands of times, and he keeps hearing again and again. So why it is told that? Because I was hearing a lecture that we could connect to it. So we should also read, understand, and we should implement in a real day-to-day life. So how they led their life. So that was the main thing. So first do this, instead of understanding that this Leela is that Leela is this, it's very interesting, I like this Leela. So instead of that, when we try to understand this aspect and implement in our life, then we can appreciate those Leela, and we can understand the motive of that Leela nicely. So that was the main aspect. And the main point is that pastimes of Prabhu are non-different from pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is the incarnation of the Lord. And here hearing the pastimes of Pṛthu Maharaj is Prabhupada tells that it's almost hearing the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there are further aspects which we understand in Bhagavad Gita also. Prabhupada explains that in the first chapter there is description of all the armies in the battlefield. So there are different names of different people in the battle. So but why we should read, as it's important to go directly understand bhakti, manmanava mad bhakto, like there are further verses, but everything is never separated from Krishna. Even the material world or all the creation, everything is related to Krishna. So Rupa Goswami also explains that everything we should see in relation to Krishna. So all these people who are connected to Krishna, you should read it. It's for our own purification, and we should understand it in detail. And then even I told example of creation and incarnations of Lord and devotees pastimes. And always Prabhupada emphasized on basic foundations. Prabhupada always quoted that human form of life is very rare. We are not the body, we are the soul. Our eternal duty is to love and serve the Lord. So Prabhupada always quoted this basic solid foundations, not going deep about Ras Leela or the other foundations. So our goal is to be enjoyed with Krishna, and we should be enjoyed by Krishna, and Krishna is the enjoyer. And whole Prathamaraj life, you should see that we should hear with faith, as explained in the translations, what is the phala. Understand the pastimes of Prathamaraj in every section. How is ideal king, how is ideal householder, how is ideal father. So how is every way you see is an ideal. How he is pleasing his spiritual master, how he is pleasing Brahma. So everywhere you can see it, and we can understand and practice in our real life under the proper guidance. So that one point. So these are the few points I could collect I could hear and I could able to write in the verses. So maybe this was already discussed in previous, but I was going to the purports. I felt this was very nice. Just want to share with you that Narottam Das Thakur explains this, and the essence is that this Krishna conscious movement is therefore very safe and easy. So we only have to execute the order of the Lord and fully surrender unto Him. We have only to execute the order of spiritual master, preach Krishna consciousness, and follow in the path of Vaishnavas. So Yadid Acharati Shreshtas. So that is the main concept. So the spiritual master represents both Lord Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, by following the instructions of spiritual master and by chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be all right. Prabhupada tells. And example, Prabhupada also quotes in the purport that we actually see that even young boys and girls in the Krishna conscious movement have given up their Lord practice of bad habits like illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Because Krishna consciousness is so potent that gives them full satisfaction. They are no longer interested in material sense gratification. So even, sorry, Prabhupada explains this. So in the real time also, by practicing what is set in ISKCON as a standard, if you follow it, even in my life, I have seen that we'll be able to give up all the bad habits and we'll be able to fully satisfy, and will not no longer interested in other enjoyments. So that will happen. We will forget whatever we did long back, that now we cannot recollect it. So we'll become that much absorbed in our life in a devotional practice. So that's the point I just want to share. It was there in previous purports. I just was referring to it. I think almost time up. I'll just recap what we discussed. Today we discussed on Falashruti section in the Prathamaraj going back home, back to Godhead. So we discussed about 35, 36, 37 verses. So we saw in how these verses is explained about importance of hearing the Lord's pastimes. Lord's devotees' pastimes are equivalent with Lord's pastimes, and how Prabhupada explained that approaching the Lord in many ways. So either Akama, Sarakama, we'll get benefited because Lord will take care of us. We'll ensure that we'll get purified and we'll be fixed in devotional service. So, and then how by hearing the glories of Lord, we can see that in the kings also get benefited. They can get the taxes automatically, like Prathamaraj, if they hear this pastime again and again. And then we also discussed in 37th verse, we just saw how the hearing is very important, all these pastimes. So we should not be like jumping to Ras Leela and other topics. We should always hear about the greatness of Lord by going these sections nicely. Our goal is to please Lord, Guru and devotees. So by pleasing them, we'll advance in our spiritual life. That is for sure. So there are many examples. And as a leaders, we should set an ideal example, how this kings set. So everyone in their own position, like a mother, like a father, like a teacher. So like a person. So like everyone, there is an example for all of us to at every moment of our life to set an example. So we should be very careful about it. And society needs it at a large. And yeah, the hearing Lord's devotees are same hearing the Lord's pastimes. By hearing them, we'll get purified, and we should hear it again and again, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized on it. With that, I'd like to stop here. Sorry for taking extra time, and please forgive me any mistakes, and open for any comments, suggestions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing the deep insights on these 3 points, comprising, as you already mentioned. So mainly it's about understanding the Lord's glories, the Lord's hearing about the Lord, and understanding that the Lord's devotees are as glorious as the Lord, and serving them is essentially the key principle for the progress in spiritual life. Elaborately, you have explained on these points, especially the point on how one should, in a responsible position, when one is in a responsible position, he should be responsible to set the standards. Devotees can unmute themselves to share any points, or if they have any questions, please ask, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for the wonderful class. Lot of things.
Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful class, Prabhu. So many points you have quoted, and even you have explained with the point-to-point thing. So it was really attractive, and it was deep into the heart. It is going, Prabhuji. And I was just praying, you would have got kings or politicians like this, like Prathamaraj. So how nice it would have been. The whole world would have become so sattvic. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Gaurachandra Gopinath Das. Wonderful point on Yata Yata Acharati, that point. Very nice, Prabhu. Very practical.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you, Smitha Keshava Prabhu, for a very nice class. Thank you for reminding the responsibilities of devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. And I think, I would just second what actually, that is Gaurachandra Gopinath Prabhu said, in terms of leading by example. What you said was very important. And also when we are leading, we have to be more responsible also. And you took the wonderful example of even at home when you practice something, unless we practice and then afterwards, yes, over a period of time, it becomes such a way that we actually wonder, how did we change?
Yes.
How did this change come on us? So I think, yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I like the point what you said about guiding the children. Every day you get up and then you get, when the children see what you're doing and it gets into their routine,
Yeah.
they get habituated. I like that point very much, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I think we can conclude for today. Thank you again for your time. So I'll conclude the meeting today. We'll meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. We'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranams, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo vachatapranam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada.